Good evening. I'll call the meeting to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. When we get settled, could I have a roll call, please?
Steve Clemens.
Here.
Gary Lillard.
Here.
John Bozarth is absent excused. David Glade.
Here.
Nicole Howard.
Here.
Marianne Eisner.
Here.
Justin Rock.
Here.
Excellent. Just a very quick note. This is a special evening for some people here. We're going to witness the culmination of the democratic process. At some point in this meeting, I will get up and Gary Lillard will get up and we will leave the dais and turn it over to a new council. Excited to see new people here, a new mayor, and we will leave sort of bittersweetly because it's been a lot of fun, but it's going to be a lot more fun now. With that, we have consent agenda, and Councilor Lillard did mention there was a typo that he wanted to bring to.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't get to it. I just happened to see it a little earlier. It's on page 11
Of the minutes.
of the minutes, about halfway down the page, the paragraph starting Mayor Clements, and in the third line of that, I believe that word should be inconceivably.
Not inconvincibly.
Well, that sounds pretty good, actually. Okay, we'll get that fixed. Okay, thank you.
With that edit, I will accept a motion or entertain a motion.
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented with modifications.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I abstained since I wasn't at the last meeting. I didn't know if it was accurate or not.
Okay, thank you. Public comment section. Anybody wishes to address the council on a non-agenda item can step to the podium, fill out a form, and just give us your name. You okay? Can we give her a mic? Okay, Rachel. Just, yep. You just need to talk. I think it'll pick it up pretty well from where you are. You don't need to hold it.
Okay. My name is Rachel, and I live on 18th Street, and this is concerning the street that I live on. I've got there's a bunch of potholes in that street, and I've already talked to him about it
Okay.
a little bit ago, and he said it was all right to bring it up
Okay.
during the session here. And anyway, I'm having to roll myself down that street, or up that street anyway, to the church, the Nazarene church now, because that's where I'm going to church at. And I hit those potholes every once in a while, and I just about fall backwards. And I about fell backwards on Sunday, just trying to get to church as it was. And I would like to see that street kind of gets fixed, if it's possible.
Okay.
Because I've been there for 21 years, and I go up and down that street a lot, if I can, especially now that I'm in my wheelchair, because I can't walk as far or as fast anymore like I used to.
Okay.
So.
All right.
That street is not in good condition.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Is the 18th in our little bucket of projects?
It's not on the ARPA list, no.
Okay.
It is on the capital improvements project list. It's tied in with redoing that bridge over Keckler to help with some of our storm stuff. So
And schedule kind of.
if all funding falls in place, possibly next budget year. So
Okay.
probably within the next two.
Okay.
A real good yes.
Any chance to patch it? At least get some holes
See
filled?
what I can do.
All right. Can't make promises, Rachel, but we'll see what Kyle can do for you. Yes. Anyone else have comments for the council? Go ahead.
stand here?
Yep, there's a form there, and we just need to fill you out. All I need is your name.
Okay, so I filled this out
Yep.
here. Okay, so I've written out my statement.
All right.
Hello, my name is Leah, and I'm a resident of the 3rd Street in Grande, where the warming shelter is located, and it's concerning the warming shelter. So I just want to voice some of my concerns regarding the location of the warming shelter, which I know you don't have control over at the current time. Myself and the neighborhood of 3rd Street have had meetings with several of the Neon board members who have voiced their desire to house as many as up to 25 people during night shelter times, possibly up to 45 persons for day use time. And the projected amount of people being served at the warming shelter also is a growing concern, given the close proximity we feel to Central Elementary, Grande Middle School, the high school. There are several children who live on 3rd Street as well as elders. And the unpredictable behavior that has been reported with some of the residents who would utilize the shelter continues to be a concern of the neighborhood. But we have also come to respect that the warming shelter provides a place for people who need shelter from frigid temperatures, and you can access resources to help guide them away from homelessness. And it's our understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the presence of the warming shelter then prohibits public camping. Is that right?
Not sure about the nuance there. I do not believe
Okay.
that's the case.
Okay. Well, I feel like the warming shelter is still a great asset to the city. We're just highly concerned that it's within a residential neighborhood. So I guess I'm asking the city council, could you propose maybe an alternative location for the warming shelter so it continue to be an asset to the community, but not within a neighborhood?
I don't think that the warming shelter has had a difficult time finding a place anywhere in the community. The status at the state is that they meet the conditions, they can put it wherever they want to. I can't speak for how the situation evolved down here, but I don't recall getting any kind of major reports from the police department about people using the facility when it was down here. I recognize your concern. What I have to do is go back constantly to the notion that these are people and they're in difficult situations. If I lived in the proximity, I would probably try to get to know who these people are by volunteering at the center. And who knows, they could end up being an advocate for you in the neighborhood and watching out for what's going on there versus being a perceived threat or danger. And I understand where you're coming from. My uncertainty would be alleviated by knowing who they are. That's the only thing I can say. The council, I don't think, has any say really in where that shelter goes, at least not with the current state law.
Present time, I wonder if it would be appropriate to hear from Chief Bell about any problems that have
Chief, you're here. I
cropped
hate
up.
to pick on you on the spot, but that's oftentimes what happens here.
Mr. Mayor and City Council, I'm entirely used to being picked on, so don't fret yourself about
Okay.
that. Yeah, I can tell you, or share a few things with you, but then if you have specific questions, I'll do my best to answer those for you. In the operational season for the warming station where it was last year on 3rd Street, 18 calls for service at the warming station or specifically related to the warming station. I don't know, I think I did share that with the council at the end of the season, also with the warming station board and a number of our downtown merchants. With that, each of those calls for service has a summary of what the nature of the call for service was. The vast majority of those calls for service, they were things like, people calling in for a welfare check on someone, or an officer wanting to do follow-up, and they thought that that individual may be at the warming station, so they tried to contact the person there. There was, I think, a few calls for service related to trespass, where the person that was utilizing the services may have violated some policies of the warming station, and so they were asked to leave and maybe return, so law enforcement was contacted. The question is, and I can't, in as much as I know it would be desirable, I can't factually connect the dots about what's happening outside of the warming station, in that general vicinity. There's been a lot of concern about Max Square over the last year or two. Might that have been contributed to some degree from the location of the warming station? Entirely possible. I know that, the library has been impacted, to some degree as well. As far as the new location, I'm paying very close attention, and I'm not aware of calls for service that we've received specifically in the neighborhood as of yet. I may be wrong. I checked with staff today, but I have not run an actual data report. We're doing the best we can within our resource limitations to provide an extra presence. And I've shared that with the warming station and people from the neighborhood that I've spoken to. So there's your information. Happy to answer any questions if you or someone has them for me.
Any questions for Chief? Thank you for allowing us to put you on the spot. I have a hand back in the back there. Could I get you just quickly to step up here and give us your name? Thank you.
Tisha Calhoun, and I'm just going to follow up with what's been said so far. I also live in the residential area, and they haven't been open long enough to really say that there have been any calls or whatnot. In the times that they have been open, I can say, and the residents who are here can also vouch, that we are seeing more traffic and a lot more wanderers, I guess you would say. That is more. And then just most recently, over the New Year's Eve weekend, I too cannot connect it, but we did have somebody we have security cameras, and we did have somebody show up at our door, never entered, just kind of wandered. And again, I can't connect it, and we are also keeping a close eye. We have had traffic, at our fence, but nothing threatening or anything like that, but we are seeing more traffic.
Okay. And what I would encourage you to do is, since you're monitoring things as well, it wouldn't hurt to maybe periodically pop in and let the council know what you're finding. I don't know what the end of all of that would be. Honestly, unless there's some type of catastrophic change out there, the station is there for a while.
I have been in touch with Bobby Levy, Oregon State Representative. She helps represent our side of Oregon. And I did forward a response from her at my last speaking. I forwarded it to Justin Rock. I don't know if you got that.
I did.
She is keeping a close eye on the situation. She did comment that the bill, the way it is written, the way it's being used right now is not what it was intended for. So what she is going to do is take any information accumulated and take it to legislation when it comes due. It's July. And the goal there is to make modifications needed. I also understand, and we understand, that things can be grandfathered in with the existing situation, but our hope is for future situations that we have a little more community control over the situation, rather than having something like this, all the responses, well, we have no control because it supersedes, everything supersedes, and it shouldn't be like that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Chief?
If there's no other questions, I just wanted to kind of capstone the topic by sharing with you and with everyone here. Don't hesitate to contact the police department. Oftentimes I'll talk to people, our officers will talk to people. It's like, well, we didn't know if it was illegal. We didn't want to bother you. We are busy. We're busy every day, but we're not too busy for you. We're not too busy for anyone. And we don't expect you to know if someone's on your porch. Here's the thing, have an officer come by, let us see the picture. We may know who it is, and we might be able to impact that in a positive way. I know it doesn't fix the concerns that you have foundationally, but really don't hesitate to contact our office. We have people working 24 hours a day. So even if it's at, 2:00 in the morning or something, don't wait till tomorrow morning, call us.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else? All right, not seeing anything, I'll move on. We have 2 public hearings that are still open. The first one is a second reading, regulating camping on public property. The public hearing was open public hearing is open for the second reading and consideration of adoption. The way these things work is we heard first reading last month, we'll hear another reading, and we'll vote, and then it goes into effect. We read the rules of order for the public hearing last month, so we don't need to do that again. And with that, we do need a staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The City Council conducted a work session to talk about the proposed ordinance which regulates camping on public property. And where this has the most impact are in city parks, Max Square, for example, and within the historic zone in our downtown, restricting certain activities such as overnight camping, and they are disallowed. There is a legislative action, House Bill 3115, that was put in place that prohibited some of the restrictions that had historically been put in place by municipalities regarding sleeping in public areas. There was also a Supreme Court ruling that also further restricted, circuit court ruling that also significantly impacted some of the traditional tools that were used to control access on public property. Cities are able to regulate time, place, and manner. We are not prohibiting camping in all public areas. We're just restricting certain areas to certain times. And so you cannot do any camping overnight in city parks in the historic district. That has nothing to do with private property rights and what an individual property owner can do with their property in terms of someone trespassing on it. We do have other regulations that talk about camping on private property. So things such as, putting your RV on your back lot and living in it, there's time frames that is regulated. That is not covered under this ordinance. This is just a public area, and it's only within the city limits of Grande. We did not receive any additional information. There are no changes to the proposed ordinance that is before the council, and be happy to answer whatever questions you may have.
Questions for Robert?
Did you have anybody who contacted you about the ordinance in opposition or agreement?
No, we had one individual that called in asking for a copy of the current regulation and the draft ordinance, but that's the only contact that I'm aware of since the last meeting.
Thank you.
All right. If there are no other questions for Robert, open the podium for public testimony. Anybody would like to speak in favor of this ordinance?
Deja vu. I'm Roxy Ogilvy, and I was hoping that we would have received some written communication concerning this ordinance. It's long overdue. We've had little or no control over the downtown area. I've spoke on several occasions with Councilor Meisner. I was also at the last meeting and totally dismayed by the opioid facts, as you were. And I do a lot of walking. I do a lot of driving around and looking at the town. We have worked very hard to preserve and keep our main street flourishing. And the overnight camping problem is not new. It's just not had any way of addressing the issue. As I've been told, it's public property. Anybody can use it. So I'm urging the council. I know that Ricky Joe Hickey had a proposition that it be delayed 90 days, which would put us into April. That's when the foot traffic increases, the park usage increases. If we're going to make any kind of impact at all, you need to be looking forward and take an affirmative stand as to which way we want our public places to be used. They are for all the public. Homeless are not a protected category. And elderly, mothers with children, dog owners, anyone that wants to enjoy those spaces needs to be sure that they're safe, whether it's hypodermic needles left behind. So I'm hoping you support that idea. I wish more people came forward because I did take time to talk to business owners, and they've been very frustrated over the years with what's occurred downtown. So I have to sum it up. I didn't write anything down. Any questions? Can I answer anything for you quickly?
So are you proposing, Roxy, to decrease that 90 days to something?
I would say that that is totally up to the council. Okay. However, 90 days, this is a problem that's been going on for years, not months. And there are individual entities out there addressing it, including the warming station. We have no control over the warming station. The only thing we have control over is what we are trying to do tonight. That's totally up to you. But I would say that the impact, this has kept me up at night. Is it better to shorten the time downtown and put parks out 90 days? I would say not, because as soon as the weather changes, people are out and the transients increase. So give us something to work with, because right now we have nothing.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for the city manager.
Certainly.
Robert, are we giving any consideration at all to extending that wait time?
No, sir.
On the table.
It was brought up during public comments during the first reading.
That's what I
The
thought.
mayor asked if the council was interested in modifying the effective date to push it out further. None of the councilors indicated a desire to do that. That is still within your purview. As the ordinance is currently structured, I believe it would take effect on February 3rd if it's adopted
We're
tonight.
still talking 30 days right now then.
Correct.
Good, thank you.
And Roxy, just to clarify, you're okay with the 30 days?
That's standard
Okay.
protocol, but what the 90 days does is push it out into April, and I don't know when Little League starts.
Yeah.
And I don't know when.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know if that gains us
30
anything.
days is a must.
Yeah.
But let's not prolong.
Got it.
Okay, that's what I was.
Anyone else like to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Anyone neutral?
I'm neutral. I agree with Roxy. Oh, I need to put my name up first. Sorry. Let me do that. I'm Ricky Hickey. And Roxy just mentioned me. Okay. I am in agreement with everything that Roxy said. I am going to stand by requesting that the city council please put an extension, push back the date, even if it's not 90 days. What I am hoping for is that the institutions in this town will begin working together versus individually. It is time that we work as a community and put together comprehensive lists of what each religious institution and nonprofit is doing for folks in the community so that those people who are struggling to find shelter at night or struggling to have a warm spot or anything of the sort, families included, because it's not just adults on drugs, that they are considering all of those people and working together to make sure that we have spaces and supplies for them, and not just one warming station with 17 beds that might be able in an emergency to have 25 beds in a community that is slightly uncomfortable with it, which is understandable. I think it is wise to say, okay, let's push it back and let's finally say, organizations in the city, get your stuff together, work together, and make this happen. There are churches all over other states that are opening up their parking lots for people and families and making it happen so that families are in safe spaces and not just relying on one spot in town that might keep them warm. And the reason that I suggested the 90 days was not because I think that we need a full 90 days, but because I think that as we're dealing with the cold weather, Grande is always coldest in February. And that is a hard time to tell people to just pack up and go and then take all of their supplies. We're spending our dollars to make sure that we have a spot to store their supplies until they can come and get them. Like, we are spending resources that people in the community are saying, please don't spend our resources on things that we might not need to, because community centers can do it themselves, right? Or religious organizations can help cover those costs by opening up spaces. So yes, I agree with Roxy, and I agree that there's problems with where the warming station is located and that the timing is not ideal. But I think if you were to push it back even just 60 days instead of the 30, it would give these institutions, and I would even, I would lead it. I would make the phone calls to every single institution and nonprofit in this town in order to get those comprehensive lists done. But open up and be available to the community as a community. That's what I'm suggesting. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. With that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Council discussion, comments. Otherwise, we need a motion, right? I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the proposed ordinance regulating camping on public property and prohibiting camping in certain areas be read for the second time by title only, put to a vote, and adopted.
Second.
We have a second. Additional discussion. I suppose at this point it might be too late to ask, is council at all interested in extending the 30 days into 60 or 90?
I am not.
Okay, so we'll adopt it.
Not really, because I think that they've been given plenty of opportunity. The organizations, they have had time to work together.
Right.
We've been
I would-
facing this for quite a while.
Right. I'd encourage Mrs. Hickey to make some phone calls, at least initially. See what kind of movement you can get. And you might start with the first group I might start with is the Housing Matters of Union County. Find out if they've done anything, and then go from there and see. I'm going to have a little time on my hands, so you're welcome to hit me up. Okay. All right, we've had a motion and a second. I'll ask for the reading of the proposed ordinance for a second time by title only, please.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Grande, Union County, Oregon, regulating camping on public property and prohibiting camping in certain areas and declaring an effective date.
All right, we've got a motion. We've got a reading of the title by the second time for the second time. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, measure passes. We have a new ordinance on the books.
Thank you.
All right, second public hearing this evening is renewing the Avista Utilities franchise. Public hearing is still open, and we're going to do a second reading by title only this evening and consider the ordinance for a vote. The rules of order for this public hearing were read in their entirety and during our session last month, so we don't need to hear them again, but we do need a staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The ordinance is essentially a renewal of the existing franchise agreement between the city and Avista. Steve Vincent had a conflict, and I encouraged him not to do the winter driving for this evening. There were no questions at the first reading regarding this. The terms of the franchise agreement have been working well for the city. In response to a question from Councilor Meisner, the agreement with Avista includes a 5% franchise fee, as does the one with OTEC, and both of those organizations are paying the additional 2% right-of-way licensing fee for a total of 7%. And so if you have no questions, I think you can.
Questions for Robert? Pretty straightforward, and continuation, really no change from what it's been in the past. So,
Is it always a 10-year contract?
They aren't always. There are some prohibitions about the number of years that you can go consecutively with these, and we felt that renewing for another 10 years, and then we would restructure it at the 10-year point down the road. I probably won't
So
be
that's
here for
pretty
that.
common then.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, doing them for utilities, doing them for 3 years really doesn't make a lot of sense because you have the potential for a lot of capital investment to be done, and certainty that you're going to be able to continue is very important.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
great. Any other questions for Robert? If not, I open the podium for public comment. Anybody would like to speak in favor of this? In opposition? Neutral? I just got to go through the thing, you know. Okay, I'm not hearing anything. Any other council comments or discussion? If not, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move that the proposed ordinance renewing Avista Utilities franchise agreement be read for the second time by title only, put to a vote and adopted.
Second.
All right. We've got a motion and a second. Could I have a reading of the proposed ordinance for the second time by title only?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of LaGrande, Union County, Oregon, amending and restating ordinance number 3205, Series 2013 in its entirety, which ordinance granted to Avista Corporation, a Washington corporation, DBA Avista Utilities, its successors, and permitted assigns the right, privilege, and franchise to lay and construct and to thereafter operate, maintain, repair, and replace a system of conduits and pipelines for the transmission, distribution, and sale of gas to the public, together with any necessary fixtures or appurtenances thereto, in, under, along, and or across the streets, highways, or other public ways in the City of LaGrande, Union County, Oregon, repealing ordinance number 3205, Series 2013, and all other ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and declaring an effective date.
That's the title.
Ooh, that's-
All right, we've had a motion, a second, and a reading of the title. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No one abstained? Okay, that finishes public hearings. We have no unfinished business, but we do have a bit of a ceremony here.
We do.
So, where do you want to do this?
Well, I thought what we would do is kind of in front of the dais. Mayor, if you would do the honors of presenting Mayor Pro Tem Lillard with his plaque and certificate, then I will go ahead and do yours on behalf of the city.
Try to do this carefully so you don't get a lot of scratch. So, you did that on purpose. Or did I do it on purpose? I'm practiced this, so we're gonna wing it. Not that I don't wing anything. Yeah, have Gary face this way. You stand this way. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So reverse places, Steve, you and Gary, yeah.
So this guy's been a counselor for, I think, since the city was chartered in 18. No, it says here, Gary Lillard, city councilor, mayor pro tem, for at least the last 8 years. He's been on council continuously, if my numbers are right, from January 15th, 2003 until today. 20 years. I think he's done the city a great service, and it's been a pleasure working with him the entire last 8 years. So with that, I'll give you this, and a handshake.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you want to say anything? I think I did last time.
You don't think he said anything over the last 20 years?
No, it has been a great experience. I really appreciate it all very much. Thank you.
I've been doing this in LeGrand for about 15 years this month. And Steve was on the council when I was hired, as was Gary and Mary Ann. And it's been a privilege working with all of you. One of the things that I know is near and dear to Steve's heart is the gavel. In all of my time sitting over there, I cannot recall a mayor who has availed himself of, I won't say fondling the gavel, but holding the gavel and being excited about being mayor. And Steve, you've done a phenomenal job for the city. The plaque is only for your most recent time as mayor, which was from 2015 to today. But again, you have over 20 years sitting up at this dais, and the city is grateful for all that you've done. So congratulations.
Thank you, Robert.
If you want.
I usually talk too much, I think. Robert has accused me that more than once. It's been a real pleasure. I know so many of you here and have worked with some regard with you very closely. You know, we live in a really good place, and it's because of all of you. And I just got the pleasure to serve for you. And that's what I'm glad for. So thank you. Now, with that, we're going to take a break. And without the changing of the guard. So, one last time, we're adjourned momentarily.
You could do threes. Do a rotating.
Everybody ready?
Something with three.
This is important. Okay, here we go. I need you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Justin Rock,
Do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the constitutions
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
the charter and ordinances of the city of LaGrande,
the charter and ordinances of the city of LaGrande,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability and according to law,
and to the best of my ability and accordance to law,
faithfully perform the duties of mayor
faithfully perform the duties of mayor
for the city of LaGrande
for the city of LaGrande
during my term of office in position number one.
during my
Term
term
of
of
office
office
in
in
position-
position number one.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Come to the stage. I'm here. Okay. Are you ready? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Molly King,
Do hereby solemnly swear
do by solemnly swear
that I will support the constitutions
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
the charter and ordinances of the city of LaGrande,
the charter and the ordinance of the city of LaGrande,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability and according to law,
to the best of my ability and according to law,
faithfully perform the duties of counselor
faithfully perform the duties of counselor
for the city of LaGrande
for the city of LaGrande
during my term of office
during my term of office
in position number 5.
and my position number 5.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to step up. Perfect. Okay, are you ready? Yes. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Denise Wheeler,
Do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the constitutions
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
I'm just nervous. Of the United States of America
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
the charter and ordinances of the city of LaGrande,
the charter and ordinances of the city of LaGrande,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability and according to law,
to the best of my ability and according to law,
faithfully perform the duties of counselor
faithfully perform the duties of counselor
for the city of LaGrande
for the city of LaGrande
during my term of office
during my term of office
in position number 6.
in position number 6. Thank
Congratulations.
you.
All right, Karina, come on up to the platform. Are you ready?
Sure.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Corinne Duda,
Do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the constitutions of the United States of America
that I will support the constitutions of the United States of America
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
the charter and ordinances of the city of LaGrande,
the charter and ordinances of the city of LaGrande,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability and according to law,
to the best of my ability and according to law,
faithfully perform the duties of counselor
faithfully perform the duties of counselor
for the city of LaGrande
for the city of LaGrande
during my term of office
during my term of office
in position number 7.
in position number 7.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you, and congratulations to all the new counselors. We welcome you. Let me get my book open here so we can see where we're at.
Do you want this? What can I ask?
Here recently, I've had to start wearing glasses, so if I forget my glasses, I am not very good at seeing what I'm supposed to be reading to you. All right, so our next order of business would be to elect a mayor pro tem. And with that, I would like to nominate David Glades as Mayor Pro Tem? Yes, and I will need a second. Perfect, thank you. And with that, I ask for a vote. Do I need to do a roll call or just all in favor? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and so with that, Dave, you become the new Mayor Pro Tem. Congratulations. All right, so our next section will be a resolution to improve fees increase with Waste Pro. Robert, can we have the staff report, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the dais, we have a copy of the rates for the surrounding cities that were provided by Darren Larvick at the beginning of the meeting. It lists Pendleton, Hermiston, Hood River, the Dalles, Baker, Union, Grande, and the Confederated Tribes for your information. And just so you know, when we get to that point, we do have one written public comment that was received by email this afternoon regarding this agenda item. The ordinance franchise agreement between Waste Pro and the city requires that if there is a request for an increase in fees, that the city council considers that, and if they approve it, it is done by resolution. In your packet, you have a copy of the letter from Waste Pro explaining the basis for the request for the increase in fees, as well as a resolution in what we call legislative format. So the line through items are what's in the current ordinance resolution, and the underlined, I believe on your copy, they are blue, reflect the new rates that would come into effect if the request is approved. And I think as part of the staff report, it would be appropriate to ask Mr. Larvick to go ahead and speak to the basis for the increase. And then we may ask him back up after we read the public comments if there's any additional information that the council might like from Mr. Larvick. So, Mayor, if it's all right with you, we'll go ahead and let him speak to this matter.
Yes, Mr. Derrick.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for council for allowing me to speak. I come before you today asking for an increase. As you well know, we've had a large run of inflation. It looks like, I was just reading that we dumped about $10 trillion into our economy in the last 2 years. And during that period of time, the economy's gotten very heated. Many things have, and then we also had problems of movement of product. One of the number one things is steel. The cost of steel has gone up incredibly. As you see in front of you, one of the products that are machines that we use is the truck. And the truck that we were quoted 2 years ago is $320,000. And the last one, I think, is $460,000 now for a truck. I mean, it's incredible. Our fuel prices, it was from last year, year to date, from the year before, our fuel cost is up 76%. And to give you an idea, that's $230,000. It's increased just this year that we there is a place in the resolution in the past where we could come before you and ask for a fuel increase. We didn't because, once again, we thought that this fuel price would start dropping, which it has. As you can tell, we were in July, we're at $5.60, $5.70, somewhere around there per gallon, and now it's back down to $3.80, $3.90. But during the last year, we absorbed a lot of those costs. Anyways, I just wanted to give you a quick glance at what that looked like. And I put in front of you, one of the common questions is that what is the other communities paying? It's not apples to apples because every community has a different program. I think of all those communities, the reason I included Hood River and the Dalles is because they're the only community that offers curbside recycling as we do. Most of all, Eastern Oregon and Ontario does. But they're in the transition. This got bought out here just recently. I'm not sure where they're at on that.
Does any of the counselors have any questions for Darren?
Yeah, Darren, I know last year that you had a 12% increase. Is that correct?
Right. So thank you for asking. So that was really what happened was that we had a 10-year contract, we being the county. The county had a contract with Baker landfill where all the waste goes. They increased theirs by, it went from $22 to $28 in one jump. That was the big increase. And we hadn't had an increase in quite a few years. And so that was an accumulation of many different, of I can't remember exactly how many years, but I think it's 4 or 5 years since we last been before you for a rate increase. So there was accumulation of that. And the request was made by the council. The last time says do not wait again, come annually. They do not want to deal with big rate increases. But now, of course, the inflation and blah, blah, blah. I'm right for you asking for 7.1%.
Okay.
Oh, and one more thing. The landfill increased again this year at the Baker landfill, another 5%. And that started January 1st.
I know you can't anticipate this, but are you hoping not to come back next year for another raise increase? Are you?
Well, they keep raising the prime rate, so I assume that the economy is going to change. I assume that's what they're aiming for. Hopefully that it is a soft landing that we all hope and expect. But so the Baker landfill, which they're anticipating with the contract that the county signed with them, there'd be a 5% increase each year, which we thought was ridiculously too expensive. But we have so far to go for the next alternative. We're looking at Arlington or over to Boardman. And that's that's an adverse haul. You have to haul trash up over the mountain, back down the other side. And that freeway is closed quite often.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Can you comment on the recycling prices being in the negative?
Okay. I can. So when we say the reason I hesitate, because when you talk about recycling, there's many different pieces to that and many different actual markets they go to. So when we talk about the recycling, the curbside recycling, yeah, it's way down. This isn't new to us. It is a cost, and mostly the freight is our number one killer in getting it to market because we're so far from it. It is down, as with all those recycling markets, except for metal was up this year. So you put that one piece in there that's way down, but there's other pieces that were up. So it's not as bad as it shows. So I really want to address that. And we did come before you, I think it was last year, to help offset some of the recycling costs. They did go way down. So I'm sorry, be much more concise. So we were paying about $25 a ton for them to take it at the beginning of last year. And now they wanted $175 a ton for them to take it. We found other markets and we moved around, and by waiting and stockpiling, we were able to get it back to market somewhere around paying closer to down to around $55 a ton. So, and I see it changing again. I mean, the state, I was really going to address this when the comments come, but the state has passed a law, and it is in the books. It's called the Recycling Modernization Act, and there's some big changes coming in that. And with that, it will help even out the playing field between people living in Portland and people living in the glorious parts of Eastern Oregon. There's a cost of living out here, unfortunately. Everything's a long ways there. So, but there is some big changes, and Robert has received some of this information, I'm sure, already. It's been, yeah. So we'll be working together on some of those changes.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, first time. Okay, so basically you're wanting this increase because of basically transportation, not so much what's happening at our curbside, correct?
So the rate increase is really inclusive of all the costs that have incurred over this last year.
But isn't the main problem right now is transportation and
Well,
transporting?
probably indirectly, yes, because of
Okay.
fuel costs. I mean, that's our number one driver. Number two is labor. As we all know, there's an upward pressure on all labor right now. If you want to keep good people, you're going to have to pay decent money. So I'm not saying that being a garbage man is the most glorious job in town, but it is a good job.
So I got an email from Ann March today, and she wanted to speak, but she had another commitment. So I'm just going to read what she wrote so that maybe you can address some of this, Darren. She said an increase in rates might be warranted given the cost of everything that has risen this year. However, we've long been wondering about the company's recycling program, and we have many questions that we'd love to hear answered. We've heard rumors that glass is too expensive or difficult to have recycled, and wonder if it's just going out with the garbage in the end. Mixed paper is problematic and isn't always recycled. Plastics in LeGrand aren't sorted because people mix all kinds in the non-recyclable plastics, and cardboard is the only thing that is being recycled from Waste Pro.
Oh, okay.
Do you want?
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
There was more to it. And
Yeah.
I think
well, you want me to read the rest of it?
If you wouldn't mind, that way
I would
Stacy
not.
doesn't have to here in a minute.
Okay, we would appreciate it if the rate increase is required to be tied to a broad education campaign. There is a guide to smart recycling, one each bill that is sent out, but if any of the above rumors are true, it's woefully out of date. Customers would perhaps do a better job of recycling if Waste Pro were somehow mandated to communicate and educate. I know that many people throw the wrong things in their bins. Something like an up-to-date flyer in each bill might help. Customers deserve to know what happens to what they are thinking is recyclable. I'd like to see Waste Pro required to research and implement what other communities are doing to reduce the amount of garbage that people are producing before a rate increase can occur. And so this is from Ann March, who lives in LeGrand.
Okay. I would be glad to answer all these, and I think Ann does ask some questions that I hear quite regularly. There's a lot here. I don't know if I can answer all in this place. So do you want me to pick out some high points, or do you want me to answer all of them?
I just think the high points.
Yeah.
Right there.
Okay. So I'll go quickly over the bulleted points that she put down, which I assume is the most important. Glass is expensive to recycle, but it is not going to the landfill. That's mandated by state law. So in the eastern part of the state, the most common use for glass is an aggregate replacement, is using drain fields and those type of things where instead of using rock, glass is actually superior for it. It doesn't produce any fine particles and to sustain like roots trying to get into drain fields and that type of stuff, or it can be used as substrate in road building. Is it as good as building another beer bottle? I don't know. But one way or another, you're going to either dig up more rock or you can use the product they already have. It's not the same as in Portland, which is only 20 miles from the corning plant where they can take haul glass. Hauling glass takes a lot of energy, and you can't move very much of it because it's so heavy. Mixed paper she refers to is I'll just reread. It says mixed paper is problematic and it is always recycled. That we have recycled. That's curbside. We talked about. I think she's speaking of the curbside recycling. That is all recycled. That's baled here and then shipped to Portland and sorted there. The plastics aren't sorted. We do not sort plastics. No, that is true, but it is shipped to Portland and is sorted there. Not all plastic is recycled. That's a statewide phenomenon. That's a nationwide phenomenon. There's only two plastics that are recycled regularly. That's the number one and number two bottle. So anything that has a neck, that has an easy market. The styrofoam clamshell, or not styrofoam, the clamshells you buy cookies in, there's no market for it. Most of the time we don't even know what it is because we don't know what kind of plastic it's made out of. And so then obviously the cardboard is not the only thing that's recycled. About having a recycling program that is mandated by law, the opportunity recycling law, they have to provide so much information to the public, and it is actually required by the city and the county to provide that. We do it because obviously we're the most knowledgeable, but the responsibility, actually, if the state comes after what's happened to it, it comes to they'll visit the cities and the counties.
Real quick on that, Darren. Now, is any of that on your website? The
Yes.
information on the recycling?
It's on the website and it's on our Facebook page.
Perfect. Thank
So
you.
Darren, do you still send out letters if people put things in
Yes.
recycling? I know you did before.
I'm sorry, she did say that. Yes.
Yeah.
So people putting the wrong things in there. So we do have we have a very strong program. In fact, it's been adopted by other parts of the state. So if you put the wrong materials in your recycling bin, you'll in the first year you'll get 3 letters. You'll say the first letter saying, "Hey, you're putting the wrong stuff in there. Please put the correct get a new brochure and help you direct you to put the stuff in there." After the 3rd time, you have to come down to the office. You take a quiz to make sure. And when you pass the quiz, you get your cart back. We actually remove the cart if you do it through. Because if people are not putting the right stuff in the 3rd time, I don't think they really care. And I'll be quite. Check my audience demographics. So mostly it's college kids that are eating nothing but pizza every day. I mean, they just want another bin to put their boxes in, and it's usually covered in cheese and whatnot. So they're not going to come and take the quiz, and we really don't want them participating in the program because they're not really producing recycling. So, but we do have a program. Think of it as a stick and carrot system, and it's been adapted when the recycling really got hit hard last year or 2 years ago. Medford area adopted the system that Grande was using.
So is my little label on the top of my recycling bin, is it still accurate?
It is. It is. We have never changed or wavered. As the market has changed there was a period of time when there was an exuberance about recycling and some things were added to it, but it come to find out that there wasn't really being recycled, those items. They're being shipped to other countries, and then they were picking out the good stuff and then throwing the stuff in the trash. But they wanted the material that's in there, so they were offering more.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
More questions? Thank you, Mr. Aaron. So at this time, I would like to invite public comments. Can we start off with in favor? Neutral? Opposed? All right. We will go with councilor discussion. Is there any more discussion that we need to have on this matter?
I might just make a comment here. I've actually had more input from the public on this issue than I have, I think, any others in the last 2 years, which I thought was kind of interesting, or however long it's been anyway. I own a business and I understand, that there's a lot of pressure from rising costs across the board. And I respect that. And Darren, you alluded to the fact that you have absorbed a lot of that in the last year. And we've done the same in our business. I'm also sensitive to the fact that a lot of our citizenry live on a fixed income. And so any additional costs that they incur come out of a pretty small pool to begin with. And so, that's a balancing act. And I appreciate what you've done to try to absorb those costs. And I would just, I would hope and expect in the future that, we can minimize, rate increases as much as possible to acknowledge those in our community who have a hard time absorbing this.
Yeah, you can answer to that, Barry.
David, I appreciate what you're saying there, and we do have great consideration of all of our customers. We do have a program for those that are in a very bad place, and it's not a few slots for it, but there is those that we used to adopt the same program as the city water program was based on age and revenue, and for those that are in trouble. So we do have that offer for those that can fill out the paperwork, and there is a place for that. I'm sure there's not enough for everyone in this community, but for the ones that are that come to us, we can help with that.
Thank you, Darren. Any more discussion? No. At this time, I will entertain a motion.
I move that the proposed resolution increasing fees for refuge collection by Waste Pro be read by title only, put to a vote, and passed.
A second.
Perfect. Thank you. Do we need any additional council discussion on this matter? No? Perfect. The city recorder read the proposed resolution by title only.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of LaGrande, Union County, Oregon, adopting a household hazardous waste program, authorizing a commingled curbside recycling program, establishing fees for various refuse collection services, including a fuel cost escalator, and repealing Resolution Number 4817, Series 2022. All other resolutions are parts of resolutions in conflict herewith.
Thank you, Stacy. At this time, I will ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I oppose.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, we are going to consider council, board, committee, and commission assignments for the calendar year of 2023. And let me find that, sorry. Earlier, I was trying to organize everything so that way when I did take over Steve's spot, I was prepared. And there it is. So these positions are all going to be for the council members, where we will go out and help represent the city to the different boards and committees that we assist. So I just go through and read who we have. Perfect. For the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, it meets by monthly. Time and location is subject to change, which is pretty common. The representative will be myself, Justin Rock. Alternative will be Molly King. Council Audit Committee. This one meets once a year. This is a 2-year term appointment. The first one will be David Glade. And then Nicole Howard still has a term ending of 2023, but that is at the end of this year, correct?
Correct.
Perfect, thank you. And then the Northeast Oregon Housing Authority Board of Directors. On this one here, the representative is Marianne Meisner. Her term expires end of 2025. And alternative is David Glade. His term expires end of 2025 as well. Our next one will be the Union County Airport Commission. This one will be Corinne Duto as the representative. Alternative is David Glade. And then for number 5 would be the Union County Safe Communities Coalition, which will be myself as the representative. And then Corinne Duto is secondary as alternative. And then we have Union County Senior Council. The representative of this position will be Marianne Meisner with Denise Wheeler as a alternative. And as an alternative, basically what that is in case the representative is sick or unable to meet that meeting, they will have their alternative show up and be in their stead. And the last one is the Union County Tourism Promotion. I'm just messing this one up. Adversity Committee. This will be Nicole Howard as the representative and Molly King as the alternative. With that, does there have to be a vote or anything on
No,
that?
it's just- Unless someone wants to jump up and say, I really don't want what we're just appointed to, but that's never happened, but.
Is everybody all right with the positions they've been given? Perfect. Excellent. All right, so. Steve, how do you keep all your paperwork organized so you know where it is?
That's a secret you'll have to know.
Yes, sir. All right, so our next part is now the fun one. For all of the citizens that will be joining us and helping out with our different commissions, we have quite a few, and actually quite a few are full, which is nice. The first one will be, or am I getting off? No, am I doing good? Okay. So the first one will be Air Quality Commission. And there's 2 3-year terms, 1 2-year terms, and 2 1-year terms. But we only have 2 applicants. Terrence Gandy and Cody Vila are the 2 applicants. And so, of course, they will be appointed. Actually, I should probably read the motion that has been put in front of me. Okay. I move that Terrence Grande and Cody Villa be appointed to the Air Quality Commission for a 3-year term, which will expire December 31st, 2025.
Second.
All right, we've had our second. Do I just keep going, or do we need to vote on each one?
You have to vote on each one.
Perfect, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. So we will move on to the Arts Commission. On this one here, we have 2 3-year terms and 2 1-year terms with 4 applicants. And so with that, I move that Karen Madison and Yvonne Stacy and Jeanette Holtz and
Excuse me, Mayor.
I just see what I did. I'm sorry. I will go back and address that issue.
Yeah, we for this particular one, some of the terms end on a different year than the other, so we
Correct.
need to do them in kind of 2 portions in it, but it's all part of one motion.
Okay, thank you. So back to it. I move that Karen Matson and Yvonne Stacy be appointed to the Arts Commission, each for a 3-year term, which will expire December 31st, 2025. And Jeanette Holtz and Taylor Scroggin be appointed to each for a 1-year term, which expires December 31st, 2023. All right, we've had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, who made the second?
Anybody opposed? No? All right, we are going to move on to the budget. With the budget, we have 2 3-year terms, excuse me, 1 1-year term, and we have 6 applicants, which is great. With this one, I have asked all the counselors to vote on their top 3, and I've received it. And with that, I move that Stephen Clemens and Terrence Gandy, oh, I'm sorry, not that one is incorrect. Jeanette Holtz is the second one. Be appointed to the Budget Committee for each of a 3-year term, from which expires December 31st, 2025. And Roxy Overville be appointed for a 1-year term, which will expire December 31st, 2023. Second, anybody?
Second.
Perfect. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. We are on to the Community Landscape and Forestry Commission. These are 2 3-year terms with 2 applicants. I move that Robert Henderson and Steve Clemens be appointed to the Community Landscape and Forestry Commission, each of a 3-year term, which will expire December 31st, 2025.
Second.
All right, we've had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We are going to be moving on to the Landmarks Advisory Commission. With this one, there's actually 1 applicant with 1 position. I move that Tracy Henshaw be appointed to the Landmarks Advisory Commission for the 3-year term, which will expire December 31st, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No? All right. Now we are on to the Parking, Traffic Safety, and Street Maintenance Advisory Commission. With this one, we have 4 positions and 4 applicants. With that, I move that Bruce Cavan and Taylor Scroggins be appointed to the Parking, Traffic Safety, and Street Maintenance Advisory Commission, each of a 3-year terms, which will expire on December 31st, 2025. And Brandon Smith and Cody Vila be, oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I almost messed that one up. Brandon Smith be appointed to a 2-year term, which will expire December 31st, 2024. And Cody Vila be appointed for a 1-year term, which will expire on December 31st, 2023.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we are on to, I believe, the last one. This one will be for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission. I move that Megan Hawkins and David Moyow be appointed to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission, each of a 3-year term, which will expire on December 31st, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. And that concludes that portion. All right, so moving on to the next portion of our meeting will be the Union County Commissioners update. And welcome, Mr. Scarfo.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, councilors, and congratulations on the new faces I see in front of me. I have actual handouts. So may I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
So what you see in front of you is our schedule for the year. Not saying you have to come. They're not as exciting as these meetings, but this is when they happen. If you do have a free time, please feel free to stop in. The ones that are in bold that have the asterisks, those are our mandatory Greater Idaho meetings. And they do get interesting, so if you got time, stop in. With that, we are going to also vote on our liaisons January 18th, like you guys just did. So if you have any opposition with me continuing to speak in front of you guys, you would like to see Commissioner Andrus or Commissioner Beveridge, that's the time. We'll see if you show up.
I hope you do.
And with that, I just wanted to say welcome, everybody. Mayor, are we going to see this every?
No, sir.
Oh,
a very rare occasion.
Okay, I thought maybe that was the new attire for the mayor. Okay, but if that, are there any questions? If not, thank you very much.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Real quick. And if anybody else wants the schedule, it is online, or come see me.
Thank you, Matt. All right, staff comment.
What? I'm sorry, what? Hi, Stu Spence, Parks and Recreation Director. welcome to the new ones. Thank you, Mayor and Council. The old council saw and approved a public art project that would be installed in front of the library. And I think December of 21 is when you approved that. So funding update, it's a $50,000 budget. So we're at $38,000 thanks to an anonymous $10,000 donation over the holidays. So really close to funding that project. 2 applications out to cover that last 12,000. And I'm thinking that between those 2, we're going to be successful without using any local money except for the anonymous donor. So that's pretty exciting. And when we're getting close, you'll be notified. So that's really my update. Thank you.
Thank you, Stu. Would any of the other staff like to make any comments this evening besides Stu? Thank you. City manager comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and also congratulations and welcome. All the meetings are exactly this fun, so just so you know. A few things. One, we did not do an urban renewal meeting tonight because the only thing that we had on the agenda was a commission appointment. Roxy Ogilvy is currently on the URAC and has applied for reappointment. She can continue to serve until that reappointment occurs. We're not scheduled to do a meeting in January anyway. So I felt it would be really unnecessary to do that extra meeting. So you will have both a city council and an urban renewal meeting at your February regular session. You also have the upcoming retreat on the 24th, which is a Tuesday, will be the city council retreat in this room. And then on the 25th, the Economic Development and Urban Renewal Retreat. The council has copies of both of those draft topic lists. Again, if you see something that you had submitted that is not there, reach out to me right away. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and get those finalized and put together that agenda packet.
Did you send that out today then? Email?
I sent one out today. I think Economic Development went out this morning and the other one out yesterday.
Thank you.
If you get home and you don't have them, give me a call. Other people get them? Okay, cool.
Well,
So it's just
I'm
you.
sure I got it.
Not to single you out, Marianne.
Yeah, right.
We also have the joint work session with the City Council and the Planning Commission coming up on January 30th. And that is to discuss the ongoing moratorium for the bread and breakfast for conversion of full family dwelling units. You'll get an update from Mike and the Planning Commission on the status of that with an anticipation of an action item at your February meeting. I sent out an email to make you aware. We did request and receive an extension to the deadline for the annual audit for both urban renewal and city. Most of that is driven by some new government accounting standard board requirements based on leases, which have put us and many other communities farther behind in the process, and our auditor is working diligently to get that done. Once we get the audit completed, we will schedule a work session with the city council / agencies, a joint work session to go over the audit report. So hopefully that won't be too much longer, but just wanted to make everyone aware of that. And also very pleased that all of our new counselors have signed up for the new counselor training that'll be held in Island City. So it's really good to see that level of support. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. All right, at this time, we will go with counselor comments. We'll start with Denise. Anything you would like to state or say this evening? We do this every meeting, and this is actually a really good time when you want to bring something fresh to the council. You know, this is kind of a short period of time where you can bring something up that you've been thinking about. I mean, it's a great way to communicate and bring it out to the open.
I just want to thank everybody for their support, obviously. I'm excited about serving on the council. I do want to say why I oppose the Waste Pro. It's just basically because we did give them, not, I'm going to say a raise, that's the wrong word, increase of fees last year. And I just think that everybody's kind of struggling right now, and it's going to fall heavy on a lot of our businesses because their price went up quite a bit of their disposal of their waste and so forth. And I think if we could just hold off for a year, I would entertain it next year. But I think the citizens of LeGrand and the businesses of LeGrand need a little break because they're struggling just as hard as everybody else. And so, but I do appreciate what they're trying to do to take that extra cost in. And I know that everybody's trying to do that right now. And hopefully in a year from now, things will change. And that's what we need to pray for. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Denise.
I'm happy to be here and looking forward to working with everyone. And that's all I have for now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yay, Airport Commission.
I thought you'd be happy with
Yeah,
that
you
one.
like that one.
Mary Ann?
Yeah, I would like to welcome our new members and for you to be the new mayor.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank Steve and Gary once again for their service because I'm going to miss them both. And then I would like to just report on the ball drop that was on New Year's Eve. It was the best attended ball drop. I know the weather had a lot to do with it.
It was pretty warm.
It's the first time it has been in double digits since we started it 9 years ago. It's first year, I think it was like -2, then it was -4, then -7. So it was nice to be down there. And it was nice to see Charlie Mitchell. He came for the ball drop. I mean, he and his wife came, and that was nice to see him. And I'd just like to thank John Howard and Ashley O'Toole and Tyson Brooks, who really do so much to put that ball drop on.
Thank you, Mary.
Well, I just want to say thank you for all the support I'm receiving and being welcomed in, and I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to being on the committees and getting ready to put to work.
Perfect. Thank you. So, of course, I will be last. First off, I want to say thank you very much to Gary and Steve. You've both been a great role models and people to learn from. You know, this is my go on to 9 years. I did 8 years as a counselor. Now I get to be a very proud and honored mayor of the city of LeGrand. And I would try to be as much as I can like you, Steve, because you're very smooth and you do very good because I made a mess of it tonight. But I will improve. Trust me, everything I do, I improve every day. And so I want to say thank you both very much. You've done a great job, and I thank you for your time that you put into the community. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I also want to thank everybody that was supported me through my campaign and give me this opportunity to be mayor of the city of LeGrand. I thank you very much. And with that, that'll be it for me this evening. Oh, yes, I do. And with that, we are adjourned.